Hello, everyone. Welcome to Everything Arsenal and welcome to your latest news. What a weekend we had, man. What a freaking weekend we had. Arsenal won. Obviously, we had a very big win against Bournemouth this weekend. It was supposed to be easier than that, but we ended up coming from behind to win the game 3-2. It was a fantastic weekend. I think I've dreamt about that goal 2 days in a row or 2 nights in a row now. That Nelson goal, that was amazing. And obviously, on top of that, congratulations to the Arsenal women's team for winning the Women's League Cup. And on top of that as well, Man United lost 7-0, 7 goals, guys. 7. How can you lose by 7 goals? That is just freaking crazy. And on top of that as well, Tottenham lost too. Tottenham lost as well. So that is absolutely crazy. So we are here to talk about the latest news. We are going to discuss the latest on Trossard injury. What's the latest on him? We're going to talk about Nketiah's injury as well. We are going to be talking about the injury to Jesus as well. When is he going to be coming back? And the fixtures we have before the international break. How many points can we collect? How many points will Man City collect? And a lot of more news, like transfer news on Kieran, Tierney. Will he be here next season? Will he not be here next season? Let me know. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Hopefully you had a very, very good weekend. I definitely did, man. Like, Saturday was brilliant. And then yesterday, getting the chance to laugh at Man United the whole day, the whole night. That was brilliant. That was absolutely brilliant. Chidi, how are you? Bariga, how are you as well? Victor, how are you? And Anne, how are you as well? Let's get to it. Let's get straight to it. This shouldn't be here. I should have removed this. But anyway, let's go. Let's start with Trossard. Obviously, it was a very good weekend. As we said, we picked up 3 points. But as always, we know with Arsenal, every time things are going good, injuries always creep up. And this weekend, unfortunately, one of our players got injured as well, and that is Leandro Trossard. He obviously got injured running back to get the ball when they were trying to get a second goal. Bournemouth in the first half. That time, Ramsdale made a very, very good save. That's when Trossard was going to get the ball and he got injured. That's where he got the injury from. So according to Arteta, after Saturday, he said he felt something in his groin when he was tracking back in the first half. He had to come off. It looks like something muscular. So that is what Arteta had to say about Trossard's injury. I was very worried. When he went off, I was like, oh no, we don't have Nketiah, we don't have Jesus, and the guy who can play as a striker is also now injured. What the hell is going on? We know Arsenal with injuries, it always affects us every single season. Is it good news or is it bad news? Obviously, they're expecting to miss a couple of games. Luckily, it looks like it's a bit of good news. So according to reports from Simon Collins, he says initial assessment of Leandro Trossard's groin injury is positive. He's likely to miss Sporting, that is on Thursday, but hope is not a serious problem. More assessment today to learn full extent of the issue. And also, according to Simon as well, Arsenal optimistic that Trossard did not suffer a serious groin injury against Bournemouth and hope he could return before the international break. Initial assessment of the injury is positive and Trossard is due to have further tests on Monday, which is today. So by tomorrow, we'll probably get more news on him. By tomorrow, we'll definitely get more news on him. But at the moment, it looks like he's definitely going to miss the Sporting game and also miss the game against Fulham next weekend. So we have Sporting, and then we'll play against Fulham and then Sporting again and then Crystal Palace. Those 4 games, and then we won't play again for 2 weeks because there will be an international break. Right now, we are winning so many games, so you don't really want to have an international break when you're winning so many games like that. You want to keep the momentum going. But at the moment, I'm kind of thinking, you know what, maybe an international break would not be too bad just to get all these injuries done and to get these injured players back, players like Jesus and all those guys. But then again, you also remember that whenever these players go out on international break, they usually come back with an injury, just like Jesus. So that is another worry of mine. Like, I always think like, oh no, Saka is going to go and play all the games for England. Odegaard is going to play all the games for Norway. Are they going to also come back with an injury? That is always a concern as well. But on Trossard, it looks like he's going to miss around 12 days or something. They're saying he should be back for the Crystal Palace game. So that means he will miss 3 games, both the Europa League games, home and away, and also the game against Fulham this weekend. We know how important he's been for us already. Like this game against Leicester, just look at him enjoying himself on the pitch, nutmegging people on the pitch. He scored a very good goal in this game that was disallowed. He assisted Martinelli's goal in this game. He scored the goal against Brentford. So already within a month, he's had a very, very huge impact for Arsenal. So you don't really want to see him injured at all. He is quite important in our team. He is very, very important in our team. So you don't really want to see him injured. But unfortunately, got injured. And the other thing is that he didn't really get injured going forward or anything. He actually got injured when he was trying to track back so that we don't consider goals. So good, fair play to him. He was trying to prevent a goal and everything. So that shows the kind of team player he is. So you don't really want to see him injured, but he will be out for a couple of games, unfortunately, according to Simon Collins. But you're going to get a direct assessment today, a very accurate assessment later on today. These injuries, they might say this, and then after one day you hear that actually, no, he's going to actually miss one game, he's going to be back. Or the other side of the story, you could hear, you know what, it's actually not 2 weeks, it's 2 months. We are hoping that is not the case. But Trossard hopefully returns very, very soon because we know how important he is in our team. That injury to Trossard actually came literally 2 days or something after Nketiah was injured as well. So we've lost both our strikers and we've lost another player who can play as a striker. So Nketiah dropped the bench for the past couple of games, but the last game he was not in the team because he was injured, unfortunately. So what's the latest on him? When will he be back? Is he seriously injured as well? Right now, I don't want any player to be out. Like, I want every single player to be in the team. Nketiah, Nelson, Saka, Odegaard, Vieira, Holding, Turner. I want everyone to be fit. If you're going to win this league, we're going to need every single player. 15 different players have scored a goal for us this season in the Premier League, including the likes of Nelson and Ben White, defenders and players who don't regularly play. We need help from every single player if you're going to win the league. So we need everyone fit. And right now, especially Jesus out and Trossard out, this is the time I definitely want Nketiah to be there. But according to reports on him, striker Nketiah is also expected to miss the Sporting game due to an ankle injury after he was absent against Bournemouth. He's also a doubt for Sunday's game at Fulham. So, you know, this thing always haunts me. You know why? Because it always happens to us, you know, like every single time. Remember with Eduardo? You remember with Van Persie? You remember with Fabregas as well, with Cazorla, with Rosicki, with Walcott. Every time we're doing well in the league, every time we're doing something, all these players get injured, unfortunately. And right now, Nketiah is injured as well. I know some of you, I've actually seen some comments saying we don't really need Nketiah. Come on, man. We need every single player in the team. Like right now, if Nketiah is not there and Jesus, we don't have anyone who can play as a striker, you know. We'll talk about Martinelli potentially playing there, but how many games can Martinelli play in a single week? We have like 4 games in the next like 14 days. Can Martinelli play 90 minutes every single game? Europa League, away, home, all that, it's going to be very difficult. So he needed every single player. But for Nketiah, he's looking likely to miss the game on the weekend against Fulham and the one against Sporting this week. He might be back for the second leg against Sporting. Hopefully he is. But those are 2 players out for the Sporting game. We still need to see more assessment. We still need to see what happens with the rest of the players. We still need to see what the updates are on the likes of Nketiah. And let's be honest, yes, I know some of you don't like him because he's been missing chances. But let's remember, right now we are 5 points ahead of Man City. That would have been 2 if Nketiah didn't score the 2 goals against Man United. So he's definitely contributed to us being 5 points ahead. That is why you need every single player in the team. But Nketiah looks like he'll miss at least 1 week. He's already missed 1 game against Bournemouth. What about the other striking partner? That is Gabriel Jesus. How long is he going? How long is he out for? How much longer is he out for? He's already back in training, as we've said, and he's been training a lot. Like recently, like this was like a couple of days ago. He was training. He obviously trained as well after we beat Bournemouth. He went to warm down in the pitch, so he's getting up to pace, like he's training slowly every single day, doing more stuff in training every single day. So according to reports, we actually have some very, very good news on him. According to reports, the reports say that he could actually be on the plane to go to Sporting this Thursday. So he might be on the bench for this game on this Thursday. So personally, I really was hoping that Nketiah and Trossard would be there, and then just keep Jesus on the bench and just let him recover fully until like after the international break, because we really need him for April. Those games in April are very tough. But right now, if it gets to Fulham or gets to Sporting second leg, we've lost the first leg or something, and we need to win the second leg. we are going to have to play him because Nketiah is not there and Trossard is not there. So there's rumors that he could be on the bench for the Sporting game. He might not play a role in it, but Fulham, maybe you could see him for the Fulham game. And then in terms of starting, maybe I'd say against Crystal Palace, the second Premier League game after Fulham, we might see Gabriel Jesus back in the team. Now, I remember when Jesus got injured at the World Cup when Brazil played Cameroon, everyone said, Jesus is injured, Arsenal is done for. We've actually done very well, We're actually still top of the table without Jesus being in the team. This is our best player, and he's not there, and we are still doing well without him. So that is absolutely crazy. We know the impact he had, especially at the start of the season against Bournemouth, against Leicester. Those games he played really, really well. Against Tottenham, he scored as well. So he's a very important player in the team, and not only in terms of scoring goals or assisting, the way he comes back to midfield and collects the ball. Most of the people have said he has a better combination with Martinelli than Nketiah has with Martinelli. Saka, I think, has a better combination with Jesus as well. I think Odegaard is okay with anyone, whether it's Nketiah, Trossard, or Jesus. But Jesus and Martinelli, they definitely understand each other a lot. It's like they've been playing together for more than 3 years. So we definitely need Jesus back as well. And it's very difficult to have every single player at the same time fit. You obviously want every single player to be fit, all of them, but it's very difficult. You can see that is what usually happens. Trossard joins Arsenal, Nketiah gets injured. Jesus gets injured, Smith Rowe returns. Smith Rowe gets injured again, Nelson comes back. Nelson gets injured again, Jesus is back. Then Tomiyasu goes out, Tierney is back. Tierney goes out, Tomiyasu is back. Like, it's rare that you have every single player. You'd love to have every single player, especially for the next 2 months. April is going to be very hard. We have like 6 Premier League games in April, and it's Liverpool away, Man City away, I think West Ham away. It's not going to be easy at all. We're going to play Chelsea as well, and in the space of 3 days, you're going to play Man City on a Wednesday once again. It's not going to be over the weekend. I think we're going to play them in midweek, just like we played them at the Emirates the other day. It's going to be a Wednesday night game. It's not going to be like on a weekend. So I think we're going to play like West Ham or Chelsea on the weekend, and then 3 days later, Man City. So that is where you need every single player to be fit. Hopefully, Jesus returns as well. It will be very, very good to see him on the bench against Sporting. Hopefully we don't need him. Hopefully we can win without him, but it would be so good to have that option on the bench. He's a very, very important player in our team, and he gives a lot. That experience as well. He's won like 4 or 5 Premier League titles. He's been there, he's done it. So we need his experience in the team alongside Zinchenko, alongside Jorginho, all of them. So before going to the next topics, 3 players injured. So against Sporting and Fulham, we don't expect any of them to really start. Jesus, Nketiah, or Trossard. So that is why you need the likes of Fabio Vieira, everyone firing. Now, basically, we don't have a striker right now to play. Martinelli, a lot of people want Martinelli to play up front, which he probably will because we don't have a striker. So we're expecting Martinelli to play up front against Sporting. So who plays on the left side since Martinelli is not there? Smith Rowe was subbed off again the other day. I don't know if that is a knock. I've not had anything, so it looks like it was just a tactical sub. But is he fit enough to play another 90 minutes? I'm usually very scared of players like Smith Rowe and Tierney. I'm usually very worried about their injuries. I usually think it's 40 minutes, 50 minutes, sub them off. If you're winning the game, just take them out. I don't want any of them to get injured because of their history with injuries. So against Sporting, what would you do against Sporting and Fulham this weekend? Would you start Smith Rowe on the left side or start Nelson on the left side? Which one of them would you start? Would you start one of them in one game and then another one in another game? Or there's another option. You could play Fabio Vieira on the left side on the wing. He's played on the wing before. He's not the best on the wing, but he's played there before. And then you have Martinelli up front. Or do you have, let's say, Martinelli still starting on the left side and then you play with a false 9, like an Odegaard or Fabio Vieira as a false 9? What did you do with those 2 games? And both of them are away from home, Sporting away from home and Fulham away from home, in which you don't have strikers. We have the option of playing Martinelli, the option of playing with a false 9, either Saka, Vieira, or Odegaard. Again, as well, would you start Saka in both of those games? I didn't know we were going to pick up these injuries. What I was hoping for when I was talking about these games 2 weeks ago, I was saying I want Trossard, Nketiah, and maybe Nelson or Smith Rowe to play in this game against Sporting because I want Saka to rest against Sporting in one of the games. But now it's looking like Saka cannot rest because Trossard is out, Nketiah is out, Jesus is out. If you rest Saka, that means you're going to have to settle for a front 3 of Nelson, Smith Rowe, and Martinelli, which can still work. I mean, they're still good players that can still work. But I mean, I still feel like you need that, you know what I mean, that skill and that pace on the wing and stuff with Saka. If you have Fabio Vieira on the wing, he's going to cut inside. If you have Martinelli up front, you're taking away space from the wing. So if you take away Martinelli from the wing and then you also take away Saka from the wing, I think you're losing something. I think Smith Rowe is also quick, but he's not as quick as Martinelli. Nelson is also a quick, pacey winger. He showed us his quality the other day. So he can still work out for us on the left side, but I don't know. Maybe you can play Nelson on the right side and still have someone else on the left side, like Smith Rowe, and play Martinelli up front. Let me know. Let me know what you guys would do. What to do with that? What would you do with that? But hopefully, you can see we need everyone fit. All the players that we have in our team, we need them fit because you never know what is going to happen. These injuries are probably going to cost us. But if we get through Sporting and get through Fulham with wins without these players, oh, it's going to be a very good next 2 months, man. Like Jesus is coming back, Nketiah will be back, Trossard will be back very soon. That would be very good. So that is why I actually feel that international break wouldn't be too bad. That will give time to Nketiah, to Jesus, to Trossard, to all recover and all of them to return. Could we see Arteta changing the formation and going with the back three or something so that maybe you can have a front two of Martinelli and Saka or something? It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. And every one of them has to stay fit. Now, we can't afford to lose Smith Rowe or someone, because if Smith Rowe is not there right now, there's no one else to play there. Like, we literally do not have anyone else. Marquinhos is out on loan. Pepe is no longer here. You don't have anyone to play on the wing. You're going to have to... He has to go and create some magic. He has to do some tactical craziness for us to win those games without all those players. But that's the latest on Trossard. Let me recap it again. So for Trossard, the assessment is positive, but he's going to miss the Sporting game and may also miss the Fulham game, but he should be back next week, hopefully. In terms of Nketiah, he will miss the Sporting game and he's also a doubt for the Fulham game. He might make the Fulham game, but we have to wait and see. But against Sporting, it's looking very likely like they're not going to be there. And according to reports on Jesus, he's back in training. He could actually be on the bench against Sporting this week. If I see Jesus on the bench, I'll actually scream, man. Like, if he returns this very moment when we definitely need him 100%, that would be so ideal, man. I'd really feel like the football gods are on our side this time around this season. So that's the latest in terms of injury news and in terms of the rest of the team news. Defender-wise, we're okay. No one is getting injured. Midfield-wise, fingers crossed, by the way, touch wood. We don't want any of them to get injured, but it's looking good in terms of that. Speaking of injuries, and speaking of defenders, and speaking of transfers, Kieran Tierney. Kieran Tierney is a very, very good player. Very, very good defender. The way he's been... The way Kieran Tierney has carried us for a couple of games over the years, it's been crazy. I remember Europa League this season, I think it was against, will I remember the team really? Was it Zurich? I think it's Zurich, which we won 1-0, right? I think it's the Zurich game at home in which we won 1-0. He scored, I think, in that game. There's another time he scored a very crucial goal, I think, in the Europa League last season or something. Tierney is a very good player. In fact, there's a time that Arsenal fans were talking about Kieran Tierney being our captain. When Xhaka was removed as the captain, at least like 50% of Arsenal fans wanted Kieran Tierney to be Arsenal's captain. That shows you something. That shows you how highly he was... which kind of pedestal he was held by Arsenal fans, like on a very high pedestal, because we knew which kind of a player he is, what kind of a leader he is, the energy he gives on the pitch. But unfortunately, the injuries have kind of cost him. Like, if Tierney was never injured, I don't even think Zinchenko would have been an Arsenal player. Maybe not. I don't even think you'd have been talking about backup left backs like Tavares, so I think signing Aaron Hickey to play on the right side and the left side. We wouldn't have been talking about these players. Getting Zinchenko maybe have been a blessing in disguise, because Zinchenko has turned out to be a very, very good player. A good number 10, a good left back, a good right winger. He's turned out to be everything for us. But unfortunately, that means Kieran Tierney is not getting game time, and he wants to play. He's like in his prime, so he definitely wants to play for his team. I would really love to have Tierney here next season as well, to stay in the team, but he wants to play. He doesn't want to be on the bench. And at the moment, there's no way you can take out Zinchenko out of that team. Zinchenko is our left back, but when Saka and Odegaard are being marked, Zinchenko is the one who's creating our chances in midfield. He's a left back. So the way Zinchenko plays, he fits into the Arteta system 100%. Tierney is a good player, but I don't think he fits into Arteta's system 100%. I don't know if it's possible for him to learn the role in terms of free role and getting into midfield and as an inverted left back. I don't know if that is possible. But according to news at the moment, it's looking like he will be going out. And according to reports, Newcastle are plotting a move for Kieran Tierney this summer. Arsenal will demand a big fee for the Scotland international. So, do you think we should keep Tierney or do you think we should let him go? Remember, if we keep him, he could be unhappy. He could be an unhappy player. Do you actually still believe that Tierney is a better player than Zinchenko? Maybe there's some of you who believe that. He's still a very good player, let's be honest. And if you were to sell him, how much would you ask for him? How much do you think Tierney is worth right now? The other thing is that Tierney was not really signed by Arteta. He was signed when, I think in 2019. I think he was signed in the same transfer window with David Luiz. I think that is 2019. That was Emre's last transfer window. So he was not really signed by Arteta. He's a good player, but everyone else who's not really an Arteta player, they're no longer here. Pepe was signed by Emre. He's not here. Lacazette and Aubameyang, Jacques is still here. Lacazette and Aubameyang signed by Wenger. They are not here. A lot of players. There's a lot of players who've left. Mustafis, Socrates, all these guys. He signed Tavares, he let him go as well. There's very few players who are remaining from the Emre and Wenger era. I think you can count them on one hand or something. Xhaka, El Neni, Holding. I don't think he'll be here next season as well. Goalkeeper-wise, we've changed everyone. We've given away all the goalkeepers like Leno, who were signed by the previous managerial eras and stuff. So we have very few players remaining from Wenger and Emre's era. All these players that are playing right now, most of them, all of them have been signed by Arteta. Gabriel, Zinchenko, Jesus on his feet, on the right side, Tomiyasu, White, all these players have been signed by Arteta. Very few are remaining, like Nketiah and Xhaka. And in the next 2 years, there's a high possibility the likes of Rob Holding and El Neni will definitely not be here. So if Arteta is still here and you're still doing well and everything, that team will fully be his. Like everyone in that team will have been signed by him probably in the next 2 years. So that is unfortunate as well. So maybe it doesn't really fit into Arteta's ideas. And the fitness is always a concern. If Tierney was never injured, he'd be absolutely class. I'd still love to keep him at Arsenal. I don't want him to go anywhere, but it's looking like the chances are very, very minimal. So according to how much we are asking for him, how much we could get, Arsenal are willing to listen to offers for Kieran Tierney in the summer. 30 million. Would you take the 30 million for Kieran Tierney, or do you think we should be getting more, or do you think this is actually very high for him, or do you think at the moment we are it's looking like we're going to get around 30 million if you're going to sell him, and it's looking likely like Newcastle is the destination. Newcastle is going to be very good as well next season. Can you count them as our competitors? Probably, because if they're signed players and everything, they're going to be in and around. They've only lost 3 games this season, and all 3 of them have been to Liverpool twice and Man City, good teams. So you cannot underestimate them at all. They have the best defensive record in the league. If they add Kieran Tierney, we are probably adding more power to their team, just like Man City did with us. Man City gave us more power by giving us Zinchenko and Jesus. Do you want to do the same with them, Newcastle? Because they have the best defensive record. If you give them Tierney, you're improving their defensive record even more. So if you have to sell him, would you sell him outside the Premier League, or what would you do? Or would you just let him go wherever he wants to go? Personally, I really hope we can convince him to stay. There's a lot of competitions next season. We are probably definitely going to be in the Champions League, right? We are definitely going to be in the Champions League. So Europa League, there's some games you're going to play and you're like, yeah, we can play with the second team in this one. In the Champions League, you cannot do that. In the Champions League, you cannot say, tomorrow it's Ajax, you're going to play the second team. You cannot play against Real Madrid and play the second team. You cannot play even the likes of Club Brugge and Galatasaray. You cannot play against them with your second team. You just can't. You are going to have to play your first team in the Champions League and your first team in the Premier League. In the Europa League, you can afford to rest your goalkeeper, afford to rest a couple of your midfielders. In the Champions League, you cannot do that. So can we convince him to stay? Because you have the Champions League, we have the league. We can have Zinchenko playing against Liverpool. Tierney, you can play against Ajax in the Champions League when it comes around. hopefully we can do that. I'd definitely love to keep him in the team, because if we can convince all those 4 fullbacks to stay, Tierney, Zinchenko, and also Tomiyasu and White, that would be so good. If you can convince all of them to stay, that would be brilliant. Because I feel like whichever plays, I don't really feel worried. So that is a good thing to have. There's a time, Arsenal fans, man, you remember, there's a time if one of our defenders got injured, the one who's coming from the bench, it's a nightmare. Let's not mention names, but we know those days. Right now, you have Zinchenko and you can bring Tierney from the bench. Perfect. You have Ben White, you can bring Tomiyasu from the bench. Perfect. That is literally so good. So let's see what happens with that. I'll come to your comments. Next up, I want to take a look at the fixtures. So I want to show you. So these are the next 5 fixtures for the 2 teams. So you have Fulham and Crystal Palace before the international break. So after Crystal Palace, I think that's correct, right? Why am I doubting myself? I think Crystal Palace is the last game before the international break, right? Wait, let me see. Fulham is why am I confusing myself? I think that is correct. I think after Crystal Palace there's an international break, and then we come back and play Leeds, Liverpool, and West Ham. I think that is how it is. And then Man City are also playing Crystal Palace. They're also playing Liverpool, Southampton, Leicester, and Brighton. Hopefully the likes of Brighton there, you can do a good job against them. But as you can see, the moment we finish with Leeds, when you get to April, it's going to be very, very tough. Those next 2 games, we are not going to have any striker potentially. You're going to have to play Martinelli up front. Jesus might make it for the Crystal Palace game. Nketiah might make it. Trossard might make it, but they might not be 100% by then. They should be 100% by the Leeds game. So probably against Fulham, you're not going to have a striker. So that is where the likes of Martinelli will have to come in clutch for us, the likes of Saka a lot. But even looking at those next 5 games, you'd still expect 3 wins from the next 3. Now, we've not done well against Crystal Palace at home. We've not done well against them at like for 4 seasons or something. I think they've actually destroyed our Champions League hopes like twice the last 4 years. Fulham away, it's never easy. Those guys, they are playing tonight. Those guys are very good. Like they're like 6th, 7th on the table. They're fighting for the Europa League. Leeds at home, you should expect to win. West Ham, they usually give us trouble, but they're fighting for their lives, but I'd expect a win away from home. Now, Liverpool, we have a terrible record against Liverpool away. We beat them for the first time in a while at our place this season, and you saw what happened yesterday. If you're not careful, I don't think they're going to score 7 against us. I don't think that is going to happen. But you saw like they can turn it up like this. They can score 7 goals against anyone. Right now, they have the mentality of they can actually go and beat Real Madrid by 5-0. If they actually go to Real Madrid and win that game and qualify after being 5-2 down, then I will know that going to Anfield is going to be very tough. Once again. They always beat us by 4 goals or 5 goals. But hopefully, if you win the next 3 games, maybe you have a slight gap to where you can afford a loss or a draw in that game. If we go to Liverpool and we draw, I will be 100% happy. If we go to Liverpool and leave that game without a defeat, if we've won these 3 other games, we go to Liverpool and pick up a draw and still maintain, I don't know how Man City's games will go, but if you can still maintain a 4-point gap, 5-point gap by drawing with Liverpool, that would be perfect. April is not going to be easy. That is why we needed to win every single game in March, because April after that, it's going to be Man City away. It's going to be Brighton at home. It's going to be Chelsea at home. It's going to be, which other team am I forgetting? Newcastle away as well. It's not going to be easy at all. If you win this Premier League title, you've definitely worked for it. Like if we are still happy like this by May, we've had a very incredible season. If we win this title, that would be crazy, man. That would be crazy because there's still some really tough games to go. But we believe in these boys. We believe in what they've done this season. Despite the injuries, we have survived. Partey has been out. We have survived. Jesus has missed 12 games in the Premier League. We have survived. Tierney has missed games. Tomiyasu has missed games. Zinchenko has missed games as well. We have survived. Smith Rowe has missed games, and all those guys have missed games. I'm probably sure Odegaard has missed a couple as well. There's a time Fabio Vieira, was it Brentford? I think Odegaard didn't play against Brentford away from home when Fabio Vieira scored that goal. So those players have missed games this season, but we have still survived. We can survive even now without Trossard and Nketiah changes. It's going to be very tough not having a striker, but let's hope we can come up with plan Bs. We've seen this season, we've come up with different ideas. Maybe Nelson could be a striker for at least one game. You never know. he saved us the other day. There's a couple of other games where other players have saved us that you didn't expect. So let's hope it goes our way. But still confident. Let's not lose hope. So that's the latest on Arsenal. Let me see what you guys are saying. Tactical says I expect 12 points. Benito says yes, Glen must be careful against my side. Liverpool fan, thank you for that 7-0, man. That was historic, man. Like I wonder how it feels for you guys beating them 7-0. Trossard about 2 weeks out, exactly. Lee. Tierney is worth about 50 to 60 million if we sell him. Even considering the injuries, Lee, he's had a lot of injuries, a lot. He literally gets injured. Like the last 2 seasons, he gets injured every 1 month or even 2 weeks. He plays 2 games, he goes out. 2 weeks, he goes out. Let me start from the top. Good evening, Katumwa. It's very crazy for my United game with Liverpool. I was laughing, man. Like I was just watching that game laughing. I could not believe what I was seeing. But I told you guys 2 weeks ago, they are not in the title race. And someone said in the comments, don't underestimate Man United. Yes, you cannot underestimate them. But for them to cover a 14-point gap and pass both Man City and Arsenal, that would be unheard of. Man City can pass Arsenal because it's just one team. But for Man United to pass 2 teams, that means they have to win every single game, and both Arsenal and Man City lose games. That would be very, very hard. And 14 points is a lot. I don't think they're going to catch us at all. Thanks to Liverpool for putting my little hope of the league title into the sea. I love that. That is what I loved the most because they've been talking about the title. We need 2 players in the summer, so we have 2 in each position. How many do we have right now? I think we have 2 in each position defensively. Tierney, Zinchenko, Tomiyasu, White, Holding, and Saliba, Gabriel, and Kieran. Yeah, you still need better quality. Like we can obviously upgrade on players like Holding. Midfield, you have Partey and Jorginho. You have Xhaka and Smith Rowe. If you're going to count him as a midfielder, you're going to count him on the left side, whichever. Odegaard and Fabio Vieira. We definitely don't have anyone to help Saka on the right side. That is a concern. There's players who can play there. Trossard can play there. Martinelli can play there. But naturally, they are left wingers, not right wingers. So Saka is basically our only right winger. Nelson can also play there, but what Saka gives you is a lot. Like Saka gives you a lot in that position. And I think defenders are actually very scared of Saka, like on that right side. So we definitely need, I do agree that with Lee, better quality. So we definitely need a midfielder and a forward player. This is a big blow for the Gunners. Hopefully not, Babatunde. Every striker misses the chances. We don't say nothing about them. Did you watch the 7-0 says Ray? 100%, Ray, 100%. I actually enjoyed it. I enjoyed it quite a lot. Took Saka in my FPL, but was disappointed. Yep, he didn't do anything this week. But I actually think as an FPL player, because I had him as my captain as well, not good. But as an Arsenal fan, it's good to see we can score 3 goals without Saka scoring or assisting. Samuel says you're right. For any time we're about to do something great, some key players will get injured. Can you imagine Trossard just inform player and then Jesus? Oh my God, this will not happen this time because this is our EPL in Europa Cup. Hopefully, the one that hurt me the most. There's two injuries that hurt the most. 2008 when Eduardo broke his leg. We were this close to winning the league. We lost 3 games that season and we still didn't win the league. And the 3 games that we lost, Man United, Chelsea, and Middlesbrough came back from behind to beat us because we dropped points against the likes of. But I think we were like top of the table, and then the last 8 games we like drew 5 of them. We bottled that league because we didn't have Eduardo. I think Diaby got injured in the same season as well. And then 2016 against Leicester, we were supposed to win that league title, but Cazorla got injured. If Cazorla didn't get injured in 2016, we'd have probably beaten Leicester to that league title. But Cazorla, our best player for the beginning of the season, he got injured. Hopefully that doesn't happen this time. There's a lot more. As I said, Rosicki got injured at some point. Van Persie got injured at some point. Walcott got injured at some point. A lot of injuries whenever we're about to do something good. What's important, league or UEFA Cup? For me, it's the league. 100% the league. 100. I mean, at the start of the season, I said I want us to win the Europa League. I thought we were going to finish 3rd in the Premier League, but the way we've done this season, we are so close to that Premier League, guys. So 12 games to go. We on 63 points. 2 seasons ago, we had 61 in May. That is how much we've improved this season. We are going to have a chance like this. I still believe we're going to fight for the title again next season because our team is still improving. They're still getting more mature and more experience. But this season is the biggest chance, man. Especially when no one expected Arsenal to win the league. They thought you were going to finish 5th and 4th and everything. That would be so good for us, man. It would be great to add the Europa League on top of that as well, because I'm always tired of people saying Arsenal have never really won an international cup or a European cup. I want that to end. It's Liverpool's year. Buddy says, Benita, in the Champions League, maybe. That would be hard, man. I think you're going to get the top 4, but I don't think it's going to be more than that. We need Tierney to stay. Yes, Lee, but does he want to stay? That's the thing. You can't really keep players who don't want to stay. Around 2 weeks, David. Let's see. We are right up front for the next week or two. We are light up front for the next week or two. Concerning going to Fulham, Smith Rowe looked very rusty. Needs super sub Reece to pull through. That is true. I mean, he looked still good at a couple of moments. He also got the assist for the first goal, but it's definitely not the Smith Rowe from last season. Smith Rowe from last season was really good. He was our best player last season. Smith Rowe, he was really good. As I said, if you get the Smith Rowe from last season, that would be great. But at the moment, luckily, I don't want to underestimate Fulham. Fulham are a very good team, as I told you guys. When I was looking at the next 5 fixtures, when we had Bournemouth, Aston Villa, Leicester, I said Fulham away is our toughest game. I didn't actually think Bournemouth was going to give us such a hard game. But for Fulham and Sporting away, I think if you had to ask me which games can you survive with a striker, it's probably going to be that. Thankfully, we're not going to miss these players like against Man City away. Hopefully. Emmanuel says Kieran Tierney is good to go for 30 million outright and add-ons upon agreed number of games played. Emmanuel is coming with all the transfer details. I think I'd take that as well. Why selling players? My thoughts, we need more players because next time we have more competitions. Frederick, because most of the players want to, some of the players would want to go. Listen, I don't know if Tierney wants to go. If he wants to stay, I'd be very glad because he's a very good player. But if he thinks like Zinchenko is fast team and he wants to go and play for Newcastle, what do you do? I don't think you can do much from there. Tavares is also coming back next season. I don't know if you're going to sell him. Lokonga is coming back. I don't know if you're going to sell him. Balogun is coming back. I don't know if you're going to sell him. There's more. Patino is coming back. Biereth, the striker, is coming back as well. Is there anyone else I'm missing? Cedric is on loan. I think he's going to come back as well. So we can't keep all of them. I expect 12 points, says Tactical. 12. From those 5 fixtures, I would take 12 points. If you're only going to lose 1 game from the next 5, I'd take that. Tierney shouldn't be sold. So many people agree that Tierney should not be sold. I definitely agree that he's a very good player. I don't think they need to be sold. But if he wants to go, what can we do? But that's the latest on Arsenal. Big game on Thursday. Hopefully we hear some positive news on the likes of Trossard, Nketiah and Jesus as well. We need everyone. Very, very good week for us. Enjoy the 7 days. You know, Man United will definitely enjoy the 7 days of the week. And if you have any more news, we'll definitely talk about it. Thank you for watching. I'll catch up with you on the next one.